Today's live mailbag is made possible by Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com/chat, right there, bottom of your screen. They get 20% off and free shipping on all of their great men's grooming products. First up from Matt, should the Niners draft Trey Lance if he falls to them and sign Alex Smith to be a capable backup and a good mentor to a young quarterback with great upside? If Lance is there at 12, hell yeah. I think if you're the Niners, you probably want to make a decision before that. And if you want to take a Lance, move up. Because a team like the Bears or Washington might jump in front of you at 11 or 10 even. So if you want Trey Lance, which I'm down to go do for San Francisco, you have to make sure you acquire that guy. You cannot wait around if you think a quarterback is your answer. Izzy World, is Russell Wilson an underrated diva quarterback? I mean, if we're being honest, he's kind of acting like one a little bit right now. I don't think he's a full-fledged diva. I just think that the NFL world is changing. And quarterbacks, fair or not, have a lot of power. And you should probably make sure you're maximizing them. And frankly, if you're making a quarterback the highest paid in the NFL, like the Seahawks did with Russ, you should use them and not focus on a run-focused offense like Pete Carroll did for years. Izzy World now also asks, Wilson's is either overrated or underrated. I think that's fair. It never feels like we properly rate Russell Wilson. From Botch, which receivers are a round one lock and which are likely to go round one? Thinking Chase, Smith, Waddle, Bateman are guaranteed. Moore, Toney, and Marshall possibly. I think your guaranteed locks are Chase, Smith, and Waddle for sure. I say at least one of Bateman or Toney go in round one. And I'd say if you can pick one to be a guarantee, sure. I think Rondale Moore, Terrace Marshall, those are probably your other possible round one guys. Like I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown goes in round one. Frankly, I'd put the over-under of round one receivers probably right at 4. Peter Zampino, Jaelon Darden, the North Texas wide receiver to the Cowboys on day 3. Sure, if he's there in round 4, I don't mind that one. He might go a little bit later than that even. From Therese Basin, where will Alshon, Jeffery, and DeSean Jackson go? Great question. How about Alshon Jeffery to the Jets and DeSean Jackson to the Chiefs? Neither will probably happen, but I'll at least shoot my shot here and make my prediction. I want you guys to shout out your favorite NFL team now for me in the comments section. In fact, if you guys promise to be mostly nice with each other, not argue the entire time, I'm going to make this question the pinned comment on today's video. That way, you guys nicely can have a fun little fight and see which NFL team is most repped in the comments. So, if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in and shout out your favorite NFL team. From Charge Harris, go Charge go, who should the Raiders target in free agency? Tell you what, how about instead of that, you go check out our Raiders channel, youtube.com/Raiders Report, right there at the bottom of your screen. Mitchell Renz has done like 18 of these videos. So if you want to know and have a longer in-depth discussion on it, go check it out. It's at youtube.com/Raiders Report. From Robert Olmstead, is there a way the Cowboys could sign Dak Prescott long-term and get Sherman to play for safety for them? Yes. In fact, if you pay Dak Prescott, it becomes much easier to sign other free agents because you have flexibility with the contract. Instead of being forced to pay Dak Prescott $37 million this year, you could make Dak Prescott a $40 million a year quarterback and have him count on the cap for like 30. You could say you will save money paying Dak as opposed to another franchise tag. TP Sports, would you re-sign Yannick Ngakoue if you're the Ravens? Probably. I think he's a good fit. He's a good football player. I need a good edge. If he demands a ton of money, okay, maybe not. But if I'm the Ravens, yeah, I would have a lot of interest in terms of exploring that as a possible option. From Leroy Paul, should the Dolphins draft Rashod Bateman if they don't go receiver at number 3? Sorry, I ran a 4.3940. So general note here. Any of the times that you see coming out, even from pro days, I strongly recommend adding 0.1 seconds if you want to get closer to the normal combine numbers. Historically speaking, the change from a combine to a pro day is about 0.1 seconds on the 40-yard dash. And it's very weird that Exos, the training facility, all of the 40-yard dash times are super fast, lasered, allegedly, and the hand times are exactly 0.02 less. Kind of weird. No video, right? He's not slow. That's the takeaway from that 40-yard dash time. Bateman was better in 2019 because it was a more just consistent year. I don't love him at number 18. I would feel better if Miami went receiver at 3 or even traded down and then took one at like 8 or something. But I do think Bateman makes some sense if you're looking for someone in the back to middle end of round 1. He's a good football player. Frankly, I think the argument will be over who goes off the board as wide receiver 4. Cadarius Toney or Rashod Bateman. Both got the strengths, both got the weaknesses. Two pretty different football players overall. So who would you pick? Type RB for Rashod Bateman, or you can type in KT for Cadarius Toney instead. So get your votes in there. RB for Bateman, or type in KT for Toney. Not really a wrong answer. Some off-field stuff for Toney. Some consistency play this year for Rashod Bateman. Funkbringer. Does the J.J. Watt thing mean Kyler's going to Houston for Deshaun to bring back the whole game together? I tweeted about this. It was a funny joke. No, probably not, because Cliff Kingsbury loves Kyler Murray, and he wanted him really badly. Why you let the feeling upward head coach make the call on that, I don't know. But no, I don't think Deshaun Watson ends up in Arizona. Although it'd be pretty funny if the Arizona Texans became a thing because it was J.J. Watt and Hopkins and Deshaun Watson all back together again. I don't think that's what ends up happening, but I'd say it's at least somewhat of a... No, it's not going to happen at all, really. Niners Nation. Got a little bit off track there, my bad. So the Niners get Alex Mack or Earl Thomas in free agency. If you want a veteran center, I think Alex Mack makes sense. You can sign Alex Mack and then draft somebody a late day 2, early day 3 to develop behind him. As for Earl Thomas, no. That is over. That is not happening. Because, frankly, you shouldn't want him. It is very telling that even though a lot of teams needed a player of his caliber, nobody had interest. He has a major off-the-field problem. I wouldn't pursue him if I were, frankly, any NFL team. As mentioned, today's show is made possible by Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com/chat, C-H-A-T, right there at the bottom of your screen. When you use that URL, you will save 20% and get free shipping on all of their great men's grooming products, including the Lawnmower 3.0. You can get the most comfortable boxers you will ever own, a very nice and handy traveling case as well. Some ball toner, some ball deodorant as well. It's fantastic. It's all great. It makes you feel better down there, and when you're stuck in the office wearing pants all day, that actually makes quite a bit of sense. Head over to manscaped.com/chat, save 20% and free shipping. From Jason, Melvin Ingram replacements. Good question. From a money perspective, it probably doesn't make the most sense, but what about Leonard Floyd, who, of course, played under Brandon Staley? Could make some sense. If you just want a bendy edge guy and you want to go cheap, how about the draft? Could someone like a Joseph Asai be there in round 2? If so, that intrigues me. From Camillo, should the Patriots trade down and get Rashod Bateman or trade up and get a quarterback? I mean, of the two, go get your quarterback. Like, if you're telling me I can get either, like, let's say Justin Fields or Trey Lance or more picks than Rashod Bateman, give me the quarterback. That's more important. Like, that's the area that New England has to figure out first. Once you have the quarterback, it's a lot easier to find a receiver in free agency or in round 1 or in round 2 the next year. From Jonathan Cruz, Chargers cut Trey Turner, sign Brandon Scherf and Corey Linsley, and trade for Orlando Brown. You have fixed your offensive line. Well done. It's expensive, but in terms of, like, fixing your offensive line, it's a pretty good move. I will say this. You might got to give your first rounder for Orlando Brown. Maybe that's not the most appealing move. From Max Hogan, who is the better center prospect for Kansas City, Creed Humphrey or Landon Dickerson? All right, so let's go with Creed Humphrey first. Discuss him. Entering the year, was kind of viewed as the consensus center, played fairly well, allowed just 7 hurries. The problem is Landon Dickerson had a fantastic season for Alabama. He did allow the 1 sack. I would argue there's between having Mac Jones at quarterback and, Spencer Rattler. So the slower quarterback got sacked, right? That makes sense. 2 hits, 2 hurries. Very, very good production there. Now, Dickerson's coming off an injury. Tore that knee up in the SEC championship game. So maybe he's ready week 1. Maybe he's not. I think that Dickerson would make sense at the back end of round 1. I would also wonder if Humphrey could slide to round 2. Maybe Dickerson does as well. How about this for Kansas City? My proposed idea. Take your first round pick and trade it. Trade back down into round 2, into like the mid to early 30s or mid to late 30s even, and take a center there. That might be the best path for KC. From William Cervantes, breakout player prediction. I think Marcus Davenport is on the cusp of having that big-time year. He's shown the flashes. Give me the Saints pass rusher as the breakout player for this upcoming season. From Jackson, who do you like more? Jamin Davis, who is, I'm pretty sure, the linebacker from Kentucky, and then Tyree Gillespie, the safety from Missouri. Give me Jamin Davis. I think he's a better football player right now. I'm not done with either of those guys. Check in like 2 months or something. Or actually, I guess maybe a month is probably more accurate there. But I think Davis makes more sense. From the RMB Bros, should the Niners sign KJ Right? I mean, they can, but you have Fred Warner's due for a big-time deal. I don't know if I want to throw big money at KJ Right. I might try and go a little bit cheaper at that spot and spend my money on a cornerback instead. From Josh Blake, should Denver sign Jon Johnson from the Rams in free agency? So I think it was Bleacher Report, is that right, Producer Sam? Listed Johnson as the best target for Denver, which I thought was dumb, to be honest. It's fine if you're not going to pay Justin Simmons or you're going to cut Kareem Jackson, but you have 2 good safeties. You don't need a highly paid third one. So for Denver, as a Jackson or a Simmons replacement, okay, sure, but you should not have your top target be a replacement for someone already on your roster. I don't love the idea of creating a need at one spot just to fill it in free agency for like the same cost. Just pay Simmons and keep Jackson. That makes more sense, I think, if you're Denver. So with that in mind, name your dream free agent target for me down there in the comments section. Any player you want who, of course, is a free agent. Let me know what player you desperately want to add in this year's offseason free agency class. Timothy Mullen, I know it's early. Who are the top prospects in next year's draft class? All I want to know is Sam Howell. I haven't done very much. The guy I love, though, I promise you right now, OSU's got 2 great receivers. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, because I watched plenty of Olave in prep for this year. Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge rusher from Oregon. This year's class, not great. Next year, though, he's going to be really good. And by the way, if you have draft questions on this year's class for now, because I'm already behind enough as it is, hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney, and we'll do plenty of draft stuff here going forward. Sebastian Garcia, is Herbert going to be a bust like RG3? I don't know why we would assume that. Like, if Justin Herbert blows out his knee, okay, we can have that conversation, but Herbert's been more advanced as a passer so far than RG3 was. And if RG3 had stayed healthy, I think he wouldn't have busted. That knee messed him up, and coming back quickly messed him up. So, no, I don't think it's fair to assume or ask if Herbert's going to be a bust like RG3 was after an awesome first year. Let's focus on the positive instead. From Mark Kern, should Chicago try to trade for Deshaun Watson? Yes. That's the short answer. Long answer is also yes. Like, if you're the Bears, do everything you can to get Deshaun. Probably not going to happen, but you should try your damnedest to acquire him because that would save your head coach and your GM's jobs. From B-Rabe, where does Javon Holland, the safety from Oregon, go? Day 2 somewhere? Probably like is opening is 50-ish, 50s-ish. Floor might be like 90s-ish. Safeties often go in a surprising order. Him not playing a year might hurt him a little bit, but I think he's off the board and within the top 100 picks this year. If you want to join us for these live mailbags, then subscribe. That's the only way to get on the show. Because if you're not joining us live, you can't ask your question. If you can't ask your question, you can't get on the show, right? So if you want to be a part of these mailbags, hit that big red button and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of our live shows, which happen, by the way, every Monday and every Wednesday.